Today we are reviewing I Am Moana. Yeah, so we couldn't have the copyrighted music playing. We're not trying to have the mouse knocking on the door right now. We're not there yet to be taking on that battle. But let's set the ground rules for this rating. So as many of you may know, a live action is based on already a well-established movie. In this instance, the live action Moana is based on the 2016 animated film that Disney put out, Moana. So a very good example that I love to give about live actions is the How to Train Your Dragon live action. That was an absolutely phenomenal movie, and it expanded on the animated, and I felt like it was damn near better than the animation. So with that being said, this rating and review will be based and compared to the animated movie. When I give a certain rating, I'm not saying it's a standalone film. Like, I'm not saying like that. I'm saying it compares to the animation. So with that being said, let's get right into this. And let me tell you, Moana is one of those films. It's one of my favorite Disney animated films, and I feel like it does so many things right. The characters are amazing. The music, Lin, he composed a beautiful, beautiful set of soundtrack for this movie, and he did it on the stage of Hamilton. He was in the back dressing room writing Moana, which is absolutely ridiculous to think about. But Moana is just it's visually beautiful. The culture that you get, you could feel it through the screen. So the animation was literally right here. So the live action had a very, very high bar to either surpass or just meet. And that's very hard going into these live actions. We saw that with How to Train Your Dragon. We even saw that with Lilo and Stitch. And I saw Lilo and Stitch. This isn't a Lilo and Stitch review, but I felt like it didn't meet that bar for me. Yet, let's start on the positives of the live action. I felt like the live action did a lot of things right, and the first opening act was one of the best parts of the movie. This opening act, it felt like you were living on the island with them. The culture was just resonating through the screen. And it was honestly one of my favorite parts of the movie. The actress that played Moana, Catherine, I'm not familiar with her last name. She was absolutely amazing in the role. I definitely did feel like we'll get into the weaknesses of the movie. She's definitely in there with some of the weaknesses, but overall, I felt like she did an amazing job. And just getting back to that first act, it was just truly beautiful because they were literally like, it was just amazing. I literally can't put into words how beautiful that opening act was. You literally had all the culture just flowing through the screen. And then again, I felt like the visuals were amazing when Baby Moana went up to the ocean, like the ocean parting, and you saw all the animals and stuff through the water. It was absolutely amazing. I did see online that some of the like hiccups that people had with this movie was because the visuals weren't as bright and as vibrant as the animated movie. But I honestly didn't feel like that was something I noticed while seeing this movie. And again, for many of you guys may know, I give my ratings directly right after the movie, so I definitely should let it sit, but I try to get them right out after. And this rating, I literally gave it in the middle of the credit scenes, so it was literally right after. And another positive that I will have to say this movie did hit, and I felt like did better than the animation, dare I say, was the emotional beats. With these being real people, you truly got connected and you felt the emotion through the screen. There was a lot of emotional beats that I felt like hit harder in this live action than, again, the animation did. For example, again, we're going back to that first act with the culture. It truly felt like you were on the island with them, and like you felt the emotional beats, like with the grandmother, like her passing with the stingray, like with the stingray flying, flowing through the ocean and like uppercutting the boat where Moana was on. It was just such a beautiful moment, and the grandmother's death was absolutely beautiful. Like, it was just a beautiful moment of passing from the current life to the afterlife, and I felt like the live action hit that beat hard, hit it right on the head of the nail, and it was just such a beautiful moment. And I definitely felt like, again, later in the movie, like these emotional beats, they're hitting hard. And when Moana and Maui first meet the defeat at the end of the, I believe it's the second or third act, right when we're getting to the final battle, you really felt that defeat. And again, this just goes to show you the strengths of the actress Catherine that played Moana. She was very, very good. And again, I'll get into my gripes about her with the weaknesses, but again, I felt like being that these are real people that you can feel the emotions through the screen. And again, I know animations can carry that emotion. I absolutely love and adore a lot of animations, if you guys couldn't tell by my page. But I felt like Moana, the live action, hit those emotional beats on the head. And let's get right into the elephant in the room, Dwayne Johnson. I honestly, to be honest with you guys, I thought he did a very... See, this is like, you're kind of going into it. I feel like he did a good job. I don't think he did poorly. Again, we're comparing 2016 to 2026. It's a decade apart. I definitely do feel like the animated version of Maui was definitely more energetic. It definitely, you felt the character through the screen. Like, he was definitely more present. But that's not to bash his performance in the live action Maui. Again, a lot of people had issues with the wig. I really didn't. Like, you get used to it after 10 minutes because it's like, it's there. Like, it's not going away. And again, you're welcome. I dare I say, like that better than the live action. The visuals were amazing. And again, you felt it through the screen. You felt it. It was flowing. I will say, though, The Rock, I don't know what happened from 2016 to 2026. That rap did not hit. He wasn't flowing on the rap, and that's one of my biggest gripes with this movie. I feel like these actresses and actors, I don't know what was going on with some of the music sometimes, but you can tell Lin did not write the music for those specific people because they were choking on some of these lines, and it's very hard for me to compliment The Rock when he was in the original production of the 2016 animated Moana, and Lin literally wrote these songs for him, so it's kind of hard for me to give his flowers there. I definitely did feel like he was choking on some of these lines. It could just be he gotten older. Again, it's a decade apart, but for some people to be like, oh, this is he had a flop in the smashing machine. He just needed a quick little cash grab in Moana. I don't feel like that. You could tell just from watching just from his performance. You could tell from the interviews he's been doing that this live action Moana film was very close to home for him. He even had his mother, I believe his daughter, and more family members in the first act when they were on the island dancing. And again, you could feel the culture through the first act. I really do feel like the first act was the strongest. But just from how Dwayne The Rock Johnson was just talking about Moana and the character he's been carrying in all these interviews and stuff, you can tell this is a very personal movie to him. And I don't think that this was just he did this for a cash grab. I don't think that was the case at all. And I felt like he gave a pretty good job performance. But I've talked about it a little bit in this video, and I just went on a rant about it. One of the biggest negatives I have is the singing. I talked about it how you felt like Lin didn't write these songs for these actors and actresses. I felt like the Catherine who played Moana, I felt like she was choking on a little bit of the words, and that did kind of take me out of the immersion when I was hearing it, because again, Moana has some of the most iconic Disney songs of all time. They're some of the most catchiest, and they're some of the most well composed, because again, you have a Tony award-winning Emmy. He probably has an Emmy. He got all these awards. Lin, he is just so well. He's brilliant. He's a brilliant artist, and he's a brilliant producer, composer, whatever he's done. He's brilliant at it. So you can definitely tell that this music, I don't know if it was just some of the notes were too high for them or some of them were too low. They weren't written for those specific actors and actresses, and you can tell from the delivery of the songs, which I definitely felt like was one of the negatives for me. And another negative that I really did have with this film was the underworld scene where we go meet the big crab. I'm forgetting his name. Sorry about that. We meet the big crab. I felt like the animated did such a better job on the visuals. While it was still vibrant and colorful in the live action, I felt like we were just, you literally in the animated version, you were teleported and taken to a whole nother dimension in the animated version, and to the live action, it just didn't feel like that. It just felt like we were just on a jungle. It didn't really feel like we went to a different place in a different environment than we were in the previous scenes on these different islands. But all in all, again, I enjoyed this film a lot. This is a live action of a well-known, well-established, renowned, iconic Disney film of Moana. And going into this, you have high expectations, but I genuinely had a good time in the theater. And this is, again, in these time of where theaters aren't that full, this is a packed out theater. I did see it opening weekend, and I don't know, I felt like this was just a good time. And for a rating, brace yourselves for this one, because from what I've seen online, people are literally hating on this movie so bad. But I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 compared to the animation, and at some parts, it was better than the animation. Again, I've talked about it before. The emotional beats, I felt hit harder in this movie. You've truly felt the culture through the screen in the first act. The first act is better than the animation, no doubt. You can quote me on that. You can it is better shot for shot in the live action than the animation in the first act, and I will build on that a little bit more. this is literally a shot-for-shot recreation of the animated, so it's kind of hard to miss like some of these beats. Again, I know a lot of people have issues with the visuals, a lot of people have issues with The Rock's performance. I didn't really feel that, and I felt like this was hitting the beats of what Moana was. And yes, there was a little hiccups on the songs, there was a little this and that, but I felt like all in all, it was a very good film. I would say it is a 9 out of 10. And compared to the animation, again, I'm comparing these two. I'm not rating the live action Moana as a standalone. I don't know what I would give it as a standalone, but it definitely wouldn't be a 9 out of 10. But all in all, I did enjoy the live action quite a bit. And I can appreciate and I can see the soul they poured into this. Again, this was a very personal movie, I felt like, to The Rock, and you could see that through just the production of this, just how serious he took it. Again, people are hating on The Rock's performance. I don't think it's that. I just think he's getting older and he just can't be the same actor he once was. And again, it's different to give energy and stuff through a voice, and then actually acting, it's a whole different ballpark. So I feel like we kind of got to give him grace on that. But all in all, I enjoyed this film quite a bit. And guys, what are you doing if you haven't gone seen it? It's Moana. Like, it's a very good film, and I know a lot of people are hating on it, but you got to give it the grace and go see it for yourself to give your own opinion. That's why I honestly hate all these online stuff, because like people just give their own and impose their own opinions on others, and I'm not on that. Like I had to go see it for myself, and I enjoyed it. It was worth my time, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful movie. So with that being said, guys, go watch Moana. If you haven't, what are you doing? We got to go support all these movies as much as we can. With that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. I am Moana.